I've noticed from looking at Instagram posts and a few YouTube videos here and there that a lot of people are wondering what's going to happen now that Ilya has separated from the Clement brothers. Will this change be for better or for worse?
Who knows?
Today we'll discuss a rarely mentioned topic in the world of mixed martial arts. It's crucial to emphasize that fighters are not obligated to remain with a single team. In fact, many fighters change coaches or teams when they become champions. And what's the reason?
I don't know, you tell me.
The reasons can vary, but undoubtedly the strongest is to keep improving to remain champion. For some wrestlers, the change has suited them very well. You guys asked me about this bald guy a lot in stories. But speaking of his teams and performance, it must be said that Lawler had a pretty inconsistent record in mixed martial arts. He was a tough fighter, but didn't reach his full potential. In 2013, he joined the American Top Team. The next year, he won the UFC welterweight title against Johnny Hendricks and defended it twice. At ATT, they took this aggression machine that was Robbie and taught him to have focus when fighting and to organize his defense. It's great that he managed to become champion, but maybe if he had made this change earlier, he would have had a much more successful career. Because I think he burned out his prime by taking punishment in fights that if he had had a better team, he would have won. His positive change came late, but he still became champion. The one who today is considered one of the most dominant UFC welterweight champions, Ultimate Fighting Championship, also had to change teams. Be cautious, as Kamaru became champion with Stanford Mixed Martial Arts after being part of the Black Zillions. However, he was criticized for having a dull fighting style, focusing heavily on wrestling with minimal striking.
Wow, what a surprise.
When he changed teams in 2020, he joined Trevor Whitman at Onyx Sports, formerly Elevation Fight Team. Under his guidance, he developed his striking, becoming a threat both standing and on the ground, as evidenced by nearly killing Masvidal with this punch. He defended his title 5 times in total. Certainly, his last 3 fights haven't been the best. However, other factors must be considered, such as his age, long career, and damaged knees. The former champion and Topuria's next opponent was having real problems inside the octagon. Aside from his obvious problem dealing with pressure and the fact that he would freeze up in important fights, he also had a minor issue with his team. And that's because they focused more on groundwork and grappling, while striking was just something complimentary. Why not say it? It was lacking, but in 2018 he changed teams to train with Diego Lima, who not only refined his striking with something good and reliable like Muay Thai, but also helped him change his mindset. And as a result, he achieved an incredible streak of 11 wins, the lightweight championship belt, and even managed to defend it once. Unfortunately, he lost the belt in his next fight, but it's clear that his career took a complete turnaround. The Diamond mainly trained at Gladiators Academy, a team focused on jiu-jitsu and basic striking. And among the problems he had was the fact that he used to suffer frequent cuts because he didn't have top-level defense. Moreover, his combat strategies were subpar. Around that time, he lost to Korean Zombie, Conor McGregor at featherweight, and Michael Johnson at lightweight. In 2016, he moved to Florida and switched to American Top Team, and there, he improved his weak points. He puts aside wild attacks and starts executing clean combinations. He improves his jab, enhances his defense, and turns his left hook into a lethal weapon. He even became the interim lightweight champion. From Poirier, you already have the volume that will come out from here. These are just a few examples. Many more exist, but some have really struggled. Few remember this former UFC welterweight champion, but he had an incredible golden era. At American Top Team, he trained to combine his explosive wrestling with solid striking, and his approach to fights was very smart. He won the title in 2016, retained it after a draw, and won 3 more defenses. But in 2019, everything went to hell. First, he was so confident in his ability that he thought he could do without a structured team. He leaves ATT and goes to Rofu Sports before fighting Kamaru Usman and ends up losing. And technically, he ruins his career because from there, he starts collecting losses. Oh, you've asked me for this guy's story, but with ridiculous violence. Cody started off excellently in the UFC. His boxing was amazing, and he quickly climbed up to win the bantamweight title. But after problems within Team Alpha Male, he decided to leave and went to train with Mark Henry. The result was that his career went down the drain. The TAN's comprehensive training in wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and striking made him a formidable opponent. But with Mark Henry, he was practically focused on his boxing, which was certainly nice to watch, but a mixed martial artist, damn, he has to train mixed martial arts. And according to the information found, one of the main differences between how he used to train and how he trained afterwards is that when he was with Team Alpha Male, he had elite sparring partners and more specialized coaches. Whereas with Mark Henry, the level of opposition wasn't as high. Which obviously worked against him, because let's say you fall into a kind of illusion that you've improved a lot, but in reality, your teammates can't provide you with the level you need. But there's also a risk in staying with your coach, and listen, because here I'm just going to give you one example, but I think it's enough. Ronda Rousey, we all know that thanks to Ronda, the women's division exists in the UFC. Let's remember that the bald Megalodon used to talk crap about women in mixed martial arts and laughed when he was asked when we were going to see them in the UFC. Until a blonde came along and put obscene amounts of money in his pockets. Now then, Ronda dominated mixed martial arts for years with her judo. But there started to be some doubts that at some point she might run into an opponent who would exploit her lack of striking. And what happened here? Her coach, Edmund Tarverdian, brought in some Muay Thai and kickboxing experts to strengthen her skills. No, she was still with the same team, attempting to refine someone whose abilities greatly surpassed their skills. And even so, he managed to convince who was, at that time, the queen of mixed martial arts that she had enough striking to face a former world boxing champion and proven kickboxer and beat her at her own game. You know the result, and if not, the video's here, and I'll leave you this clip. And well, there's an uncomfortable truth in the world of coaches, and it's that not all of them are ready to face the demands of being in the big leagues. Besides the fact that they don't develop teaching methods, let's say cutting edge, or at the level necessary to be in the UFC, for example.
It's a monster, kill it!
As you can see, changing coaches or teams is crazy. It can go really well or terribly wrong. But what do I think is going to happen with Ilya? Well, honestly, I think everything is going to go pretty well for Topuria. And no, I'm not saying it because I'm a Topuria lover like you who's watching this video right now. I'm saying it because if there's one thing that has defined Ilya, it's his mindset focused on success. And obviously, whoever forms his new team will be there because they believe they can bring out the best in him. So I doubt this change will be negative. Personally, I don't think it matters if you're a champion or if you have millions in the bank. Your coach doesn't have to kiss your ass and do your bidding. His job is to make you a better fighter so you win and then let everyone else kiss your ass. I say this because it's common for fighters who reach the top to slack off in training, become overconfident, or let success go to their heads, truly believing they're the best. They think they'll maintain their position without the discipline that got them there in the first place. Meanwhile, the new people coming in who are hungry are taking advantage of this gap to close the distance and even overtake them. Ironically, many who reach the top by exploiting others' mistakes have also witnessed the downfall of those who committed the same errors. But in human arrogance, we tend to think, that's not gonna happen to me. To sum up, his followers can relax for now. His mentality and knack for surrounding himself with positive influences are crucial to maintaining his long-term success. In any case, the upcoming fights are the ones that will really show if there's any positive or negative difference in his career. Suddenly, the separation from his team doesn't change the analysis I made of his upcoming fight. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I appreciate your support and will be reading your feedback. Thanks for being here.